Hello! Welcome to our series about the trust models in play when using eDelivery. This is an episode in which we will be looking into how a participant in an eDelivery network can prove the identity they claim having. By proving the identity, we understand the means the participant has to enable another participant to check that the claimed identity is authentic. The need to prove and check a digital identity is a requirement present across the IT landscape, and therefore there are several solutions and technical frameworks created to address this need. With the purpose of demonstrating the diversity of the existing identity frameworks, we list here some of those that are mostly relevant to us. We further look at each framework protocol and to two dimensions on how to deal with trust. These two dimensions are the following: direct trust versus indirect trust. Does the party proving its identity need to rely on another party to achieve this purpose? Online versus offline verification. Is the information supplied via the authentication request to the party who checks the identity sufficient for the purpose of identity validation? Or does the party who checks the identity needs to connect to a third-party service in order to perform the identity validation? We understand the first dimension as important because it distinguishes between direct trust against indirect trust. All other things being equal, direct trust is always better and stronger than indirect trust, since indirect trust always provides additional information for an attack surface. The second dimension impacts directly on the efficiency of the validation process, and therefore is important in situations where speed or resource consumption are relevant considerations. Some of the examples we are looking at are the following. OpenID Connect. This is the framework built on top of OAuth 2.0 that was introduced by the REST API ecosystems. It requires a third-party authority, so it uses indirect trust, and was originally designed to use online verification, yet some follow-up updates enabled it to use offline verification. PKI. This is the framework built around the digital certificates. It can use both direct and indirect trust, and in most situations works with offline validation. SAML is one of the first standardized authorization protocols. It was designed to work with indirect trust and offline verification. Windows RD is not a single protocol but a set of protocols and components that are employed by Windows in order to provide authentication services to the users. We have it on this list because it is one of the most used authentication infrastructures in the IT world. Blockchain self-sovereign identity is a recent approach to identity that relies on distributed public ledgers and asymmetric cryptography. It uses indirect trust and offline verification. Digital Identity Wallet is the identity framework that was recently introduced by the European Commission. This is built around qualified digital certificates. It uses indirect trust and will work with offline verification. Out of the existing models, eDelivery has selected to use PKI as means for proving the identity of the participants. The certificates can be issued by any certification authority, varying from self-signed certificates to eIDAS qualified certificates, and there is a set of guidelines on how to select the certificates to be used with eDelivery. Let's look at how eDelivery uses digital certificates to prove the identity of the participants. We know from the previous sections that all corners, corner 1, corner 2, corner 3, and corner 4, are assigned identifiers as participants to an eDelivery network. Yet, the scope of eDelivery is to prove the identity only for the access points corner 2 and corner 3. Both corner 2 and corner 3 need to have a pair of public-private keys. The public key will be kept in the form of AX509.N certificate. The identity of the participant is being registered, recognized, in the network by creating a link between the identifier of the participant and their certificate. This link can be stored either by being copied in the configuration of each access point in the network, or in a trusted central network, such as SMP, or in a custom network whitelist. Once the link is created, the participant can prove that it is the rightful owner of the claimed identifier by showing they are in the possession of the key pair that is registered on the network as linked to that identifier. When using PKI, the possession of the key pair can be proved either by performing a digital signature or by decrypting a fragment that was encrypted using the public key from that pair. When eDelivery uses X.509 certificates for identity, the technical steps rely directly on two fields, the subject's public key and the issuer's signature. Other certificate fields are not always used directly. Still, those other fields can help in many occasions to support the steps when indirect trust is used, or when the link between the public key, subject's key, and the participant identifier, subject metadata, is in fact stored in the certificate itself. In short, the certificate binds a public key to a participant identifier. The network records that binding, and possession of the matching private key proves the participant is who they claim to be. Thanks for watching. Find out more on the eDelivery website. For questions, feel free to reach out via email. See you in the next video.